Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. If you have been here before and watched another of my previous videos, thank you for coming back. My name is Kim and this is my video podcast vlog, Cast On and Carry On, where I talk about everything knitting, and we're kind of expanding lately to get more into fiber arts, although I don't know if I've been expanding that here on the podcast or just in my brain. Not sure. Also, the other day, I was out to dinner with my friend and her husband, and he asked me if I had any new textile art pieces I was working on, and I was just like so tickled that that's what he was like, what he was referring to with my knitting. It's great. I mean, yes, that is what this is, but I've never really thought of it that way, and I was just like, that's really nice. Okay, first of all, my office is the weirdest setup I've ever seen right now, so hopefully this video turns out. And I also will apologize because it is roasting in my office. Like, I cannot figure out the radiator in this house. We've been here for 2 years, and it is even when I turn it down to 0, or I mean it went down to like the lowest setting, 0 is off, but the lowest setting on the radiator is still like steaming hot. And so my office, it's been open, and I'm sweating. So the window is open right here. This window right here is open, and that there appears to be some sort of sports game happening, probably like a football game or something, and there's a bunch of blokes drinking. I don't know if you can hear them singing right now. They're really excited. They're like, that's the way, we like it, So, apologies if you can hear that in the background. I do have a mic set up, and it's like a directional, but I don't know how directional and great it is, and I will be honest, like, I'm kind of sitting towards the open window. For this episode, I'm going to follow the more traditional, like, knitting podcast format. I think. I don't know. I've not been watching knitting podcasts for very long, since I just started knitting this year, and then promptly jumped into starting my own, because that's just who I am as a human being. So I think the general format usually tends to be like finished objects, then what's on my needles, and then maybe future plans. But I'm going to tweak it a little bit. So I am going to do newly finished objects, and then I'm going to talk about what's on my needles right now. But I'm not going to talk too much about future plans, because my next episode, I have a big haul coming of yarn that I bought for my next couple projects. One second, I have to do this. I can't. That's going to make it easier for me to look at you and not at the screen, although I'll have to keep track of time in my head somehow. Anyway, my next episode is going to be a big, like, yarn unbagging, whatever, because I have some yarn coming for my next few, like, fall, winter projects that I have scoped out, and I'm going to stick to them. I'm not saying I'm not going to do other things. Of course I am, but yeah. So instead of talking about my future projects, I'm going to talk about a couple, like, knickknacks, notions, that type of things that I have that I love or don't love, because I am, at my core, a person who loves things. I'm going to be honest. I'm a person who loves things. I'm certainly not a minimalist. I don't know if I'm quite a maximalist, but I do try to tend that way, or try that way. I also do know about myself that I have a tendency for holding on to things, like a low-level hoarding. That is why when I moved to Europe, or to England, I haven't quilted in like 10 years. My wedding anniversary was in August for my 10th anniversary, and I think the last things I quilted were quilts for my bridesmaids as thank you gifts. So I haven't quilted in almost 10 years now, and I brought my sewing machine. I brought my fabric collection. My fabric collection is in the attic. What am I going to do with it? But it's all so cute. It's such cute fabric. And I don't want to get rid of it, because maybe one day I'll use it for something. And you know that thing where, like, you finally, like, you get rid of something and then you need it the next week? That always happens to me. Always. So that is why I keep talking about not wanting a stash, because I know myself well enough. But I do have a big haul coming, and I'm so excited about it, and I'll talk through that in my next episode. You going somewhere, Scylla? Also, my husband watches my podcast when it comes up, and he made fun of me for my last episode because I had both dogs here, and he was like, your Jocko, the smaller one, had like, he's like, his eyes were gross, and you put him on the internet with goopy eyes. And I'm like, sorry to hurt your pride, Jocko, and put you on with goopy eyes. He's currently sitting in the office door, watching out to make sure no one comes and tries to attack me while I'm doing this, because he takes his duties of guarding me seriously. Okay, before we get in, we're going to talk a little bit, or I'm going to just be like, what am I wearing? You've seen this before if you have watched my videos. This is my Hey Sailor, designed by Andrea Mowry, in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, in, I think, Undyed and Clover Green. This was the second piece I knit since I started knitting in February. I jumped right in. I didn't know better. But I love it. I love this piece. I don't know. It's actually for me really great for like autumn right now, because it's still too warm for me. Like this yarn, I run warm. And so this yarn is, well, it's a cotton blend and it's lighter, it's still warm for me. So it's good for autumn, spring, not as much for the hot summers. But yeah. Okay, so we're going to just jump right in with my first finished object. This is my first finished object that I wanted to share today. It is a bonnet scarf, which have been everywhere. Or bonnets in general have been everywhere, and I don't like love the look of a full bonnet, you know, like that, the tie, and just, that doesn't really work for me. But I loved the idea of a hood that, like my winter coat, like I have a pea coat kind of thing, or like it's a camel coat, and it doesn't really have a hood, but it rains and slushes here, I guess, in London. It doesn't really snow every time I see a movie where it's winter. Like last year I watched Black Dove, which was very good, but it was like Christmas Eve, and Keira Knightley was walking around on Christmas Eve and it was snowing, and I was like, that is a lie. It does not do that. It does not snow like that here in the winter. I saw a few flakes last year. Nothing stuck. But because of that, I want something that I can pull up over my head, you know? So I knit this. I think hopefully I fixed this autocorrect issue, or autofocus issue. Fingers crossed. So if I hold this up, you might be able to see it. But this piece is a garter stitch piece. It is, it's called the Bonnet Hood by, I think it's a free pattern from Cascade. Let me just double check. But I modified it some because, here it is, the Bonnet Hood. The pattern is, oh no, it's not. It's by Yarnspirations Design Studio. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I did modify it. It came out in February of this year, of 2025. You're supposed to use a bulky yarn, and yeah, so I knit this in a week or so. Just garter stitch. I modified it a little bit. So first of all, for my yarns, I held 3 yarns together because I was on the Drops website and I saw that they had a sample, or like a swatch of this, of 3 yarns. It was the Drops Air, the Drops Alpaca Silk, and the Drops, wait, what was it? It's not Fable. No, don't bark. No. It's not Fable. Fiesta. Drops Fiesta. And so that's what I have here. And I have it in the colors. Let's look. What 3 colors do I have? Okay. So the Drops Air is Fog. The Brushed Alpaca Silk is Off-White. And then the Fiesta that I used is the Sea Captain, which is like where you see this orange and some blues cropping up, and there's some yellow, but it's not as visible with this like marling that's happening. I also modified it to have an I-cord edge. I did I think a 2-stitch I-cord edge, if I remember correctly. I think there's a couple ends I still need to weave in, because I tried knotting them and hiding it, but it didn't work, but I don't see them right now. And then I also, when I did it, I didn't keep track of where my halfway point was, and I thought I remembered right where, like, which one I had about halfway of, and I was wrong. So one side is much shorter than the other, but I actually kind of like that, because like when I put it on, what I can do is I just put it on, and then if I knot it like once, like this, the ends are almost exactly the same. And so here it is, and I put it on. It's like this just like nice little hood to keep me. So the yarn, I was worried it was going to be a little too stiff when it was knitting up. But actually I think this is a good stiffness for a hood that I'm trying to use to keep dry. So I love it. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to wear it in the winter and be cozy. I also can just wear it just like as a regular scarf, because that was the other thing I don't like. Like I was saying, I'm not a huge fan of like just the huge bonnets. So I can use it as a big bulky scarf too, and just be cozy and warm. So that's my first finished object. My second finished object is I did finish this pair of socks. Like I said, these are a gift. But I finished these beauties. I actually, the more I worked on them, the more I liked how this worked up. Because I know, excuse me, that I wasn't a huge fan of the last time I recorded, but I really do like them a lot. So these are going to be a gift this year at Christmas. And yeah, those are my finished objects. I'm going to stop it now and then restart it so I know that I have enough time. Now on to what is on my needles. The first thing I have is, again, another gift. I started these. Okay. These socks. I think it's focusing, guys. I think it's focusing. Okay, so I started this sock. It's a fun sock. It's my first time doing waffle stitch. I think it's actually my first time really doing 2x2 ribbing. It's my first time doing a short row heel, and it's my first time doing a heel in a different color, like a different yarn. And everything in this is new for me. It was my first time doing baubles. This sock is, let me look it up on my phone so I get the name right. Not safe for work. It is the Penis Cake Waffle Inklet. So, oh yeah, and my first time doing a lace cuff. If you look really closely at this lace cuff, can you see it? Can you see it? I don't know if it's going to focus that well. It's a penis. It's a penis, guys. It's hilarious. Did I say it was my first time doing baubles? Because you use baubles for the little balls. I think it's so funny. It just cracks me up. And I also think it's subtle enough that the person that I'm making these for would probably be able to wear them in public, and people would be like, oh, look at the lace socks you're wearing. Those are so cute. Because these are also going to be a gift. I accidentally modified this pattern as well. I realized it halfway through where I'm at, in that I eliminated an entire row from the repeat. So the waffle isn't perfect, but that's okay. I think they're hilarious. And they're cute. I love the yarns I picked for them. I wasn't sure at first. I wish my yarn was white, to be honest. This is the silver hobby sock yarn. And, I mean, it's a slight gray. You know, you can see that here. But, I had it when I tried to buy the hobby sock yarn before. They didn't have any white left. And, like, they were sold out. And so I got the silver. And I just, I have, like, a white bamboo wool blend for socks, but I don't think it's super wash. And so both of these are super wash so that the person I'm giving them to is able to wash them in her washing machine if she chooses to. So again, this is the hobby sock yarn, and then this one is I also think is another hobby yarn. It is so Hobby Friends sock wool at the top in silver, and then this brilliant pink orange that is so fun and I love it. It's like neon. It's the Hobby Silly Socks Disco in neon orange pink. So this is the first piece I have on. But then I also had like a really crummy like down day on Monday, and I decided to cast on something else. Breaking my rule, but that's fine. This is my second piece on my needles right now. This is the jean cardigan. I started it Monday and I got to the end of my first skein last night on Friday. So I've gotten this far so far this week on it. It's like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm in the 10th stripe, basically the 5th garter stitch row section. This so I love my jean tee. You know, I did that earlier this year. But I'd also bought at the same time she was having a sale, and I loved the jean cardigan. She has it's by Joanna Garish and knitted by Kohlrabi, or Kohlrabi by Johanna. I can't remember. But hers is all white and it's just gorgeous. But I also at the same time on Pinterest I saw this like green cardigan and I was just like, I need it. I need that. I need that. So that's what I'm working on here. And I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. I've been trying to be really careful about counting all of my sections to make sure it's the right number. I am using multiple. The raglan is so pretty. I don't know if you can see it, but like the raglan here is just so pretty looking to me. And I'm really having a lot of fun with this piece. So I'm knitting this right now in, I had the Hobby Diablo in Jade. So that's the mohair like yarn I'm holding this with. And that's what the first skein I ended with yesterday. I'm about to end with this, with the second skein like that I'm holding it with. And it is, I don't have it in here. I haven't put my yarns in yet because I'll be honest. I bought a couple different yarns to like swatch to see what color combination I want to do and what texture and like how I wanted it to feel. And I picked this one. It is Drops Alpaca, and the color is, I can't remember. Is it forest green? I'll put it on screen when I'm editing. I'll look it up because it might be jungle green, I think. And this is the one I picked and I ended up with. Was using this one. So part of my haul that is coming is the rest of this yarn I need to try or to finish this piece. I had just bought a couple different skeins of different yarns to try out, and then I ordered the rest. So that is the second piece on my needles right now. And then I also have been like going a little bit swatch crazy lately. So I have just a handful of swatches of all sizes here because I've been getting ready to do like a bunch of other pieces, right? Like I mentioned. So the first thing I swatched was for the jean cardigan. I wasn't sure what I wanted. My mom when she was here, she was knitting with a cotton yarn that she really liked, and I like the idea of a cotton yarn because I run it so warm. But the one I got, I didn't really realize it's much bulkier than was called for in the pattern. So, but here is a swatch of the cotton, the drops cotton I was using and trying out, and the Diablo, so I could try that out. So I swatched this, and I swatched it again with the Drops Alpaca, which is what I ended up doing. This is slightly under gauge, but I think it's supposed to be like, I think it was like 24 stitches in 10 or something like that, and it was like at 9 and 10 centimeters, and is that like 9.5 centimeters or 9.75 centimeters? But also you're supposed to wear it with like 5 to 10 centimeters of positive ease, and the way the size is graded, there's either one that was going to be like negative ease or like right there, like 0 to negative, or one that was like 10 to 15. And so I think that little bit of extra should be fine. Like it's a little bit small, so it'll get a little bit smaller on me and fit that recommended ease. But also, like, look how different these skeins are. You can see that this is just how much bulkier this yarn is. And I didn't want to go with the cotton because it was so different from the pattern. I didn't want to make that many modifications. But yeah, so I swatched these first and then proceeded with this. Also, this like stayed. So when I knit my jean tee, I used the cotton merino, the same cotton merino I'm using here, which when I blocked this, it stayed nice. It stayed the size I wanted it to be after drying, but the jean tee went right back in. So that was a fear of this too. I didn't want that. But this alpaca stayed when I blocked it. So it's not going to be too small, hopefully. I mean, then the other things that I've been like swatching just are kind of like experimental mini swatches. So I used the rest of my Drops Air that I bought for my scarf to just kind of, first of all, I wanted to like do a gauge swatch to see exactly what it was, because I do have a sweater coming in my next video. I'll talk about it, but I do have a sweater that I'm looking at with cables, and it had a like, here's the gauge just in stockinette. So I did that, but I also have that book I bought from Estonia that had some really fun patterns done with just using knits and purl stitches for textures. And I'm going to be knitting a sweater for my husband, and I want to incorporate some sort of texture with that. So I was just experimenting here to see how that would show up in Drops Air. Not great definition on that, which is fine. That's what I anticipated. But I was just like experimenting. And then I also wanted to see what cables might look like in the Drops Air, and I'd never knit cables before. So because I want to make a cable sweater, because I just do. I've been itching to cast on a color work, and I've been itching to cast on cables. And a lot of cable patterns do call for Drops Air or something similar, and I was not sure. Like, I was like, it's what I ended up going with, but it's not a huge amount of definition, which is probably fine though. So I did a little teeny tiny swatch of cable work just to see if I knew could figure out how to do it, make sure first before I committed. And then, this is just in Drops, oh god, what is it? It doesn't matter. Andes? Not Andes. Whatever I used for my step-by-step sweaters, for recommended yarn there. I'll put it on screen. I can't remember. But this, again, was me experimenting a little bit more with knits and purls, which you can see much more clearly with this. There's more stitch definition, which makes sense, of course. And then the third thing I did was a fisherman's half rib to try this out, because the sweater I'm looking at, the whole back is done in this fisherman's half. And so I wanted to see how that worked and figure out that stitch out. And it's so squishy. I love it. I just love it. So yeah, those are my swatches. Okay. Now onto the fun part where I get to talk about some of my favorite things and things I have organizationally that might be helpful for you. I have a box here of stuff that I'm probably not going to touch on everything, but I'll talk here. First thing I have is this little project bag my mom bought me. She got me 2 of them. They're very cute. I think she said she got them from Hobby Lobby. And they're just really tiny. It's nice. And they have a little hole that you can put your yarn through. Now, I was using these for the pair of socks I was making, and it was really great for carrying around. The only problem I then found with it is that once you start knitting through this hole, you are tied to the bag unless you want to cut your yarn and reattach it, or you want to like unravel the ball and put it back up. So that's just one thing to take into account with this, but it's nice because it kept it from tangling. It might be nice for this because like the balls are running all over while I'm doing it right now. But yeah, these I would recommend these ones. Otherwise, I use everything for project bags. I use makeup bags. I use shoe packing bags. I use all the bags that I get from stores. Like this, I think, is the beautiful knitter bag that I have my socks in. I have all sorts of project bags, just bunches of them. Okay, sorry, I just got like a warning. I don't know what it is. Hopefully this is recording. I stopped and restarted. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Look, I know you don't need a yarn winder, ball winder, but dear God, does this make life easier. So much. I also recently bought a Swift. When my mom was here, she bought some yarns and we did it. It took forever. Then the next one I did it on my office chair, which it took like an hour and a half. Somebody on Threads was nice enough to be like, friend, do you need a Swift? Because I have like 3. And I was like, no, thank you. This was such hell doing this last time that I have purchased one now. So I haven't used it yet, but I have one. And honestly, the best for anything in Hanks. It's just great. Highly recommend. And they're not that expensive. Like, you can get them. That one I think was like 15 pounds. 10 or 15 pounds. The Swift was not very expensive either. They're not that expensive and they are worth it in my opinion. Okay. Of course, the first thing that you need, and really the only thing you need yarn, probably some scissors, and you need needles. When I started with my sweater that I was, the step-by-step sweater, I bought the yarn, and at the same time, I think from Rito Hobby, I bought this, a set of interchangeable needles. A lot of people I know are like, you don't need this, like you can buy them piece by piece and everything, but like, it's cheaper to buy them this way and get all of them that you might need at once. Okay, it comes with multiple of the sizes. It comes with stoppers so that if I need the needles for another project, I can take them and put the stopper on the wire. These are yes, this set was not expensive. Well, I mean, comparatively not expensive. I don't know why needle sets are so expensive. Okay, I think this is just Infinity Hearts. It's got everything from a 10 millimeter here down to a, this is like a 3, I think a 3. But let me just double check. The printing on them is so small, and yes, to a 3 millimeter, and it's fantastic. It's got like all the ones I need. I would recommend that personally. I just find this so much easier than having a bunch of loose ones. But I do still have some loose ones because I started in exacts, and most of them are on finer needles than the 3. So for that, I bought this little binder on Amazon. It's just a little clear binder, and I bought these little, they're like sheets here that are plastic, and they have the little zippy on them. What's going on? Oh, no, it's fine. It's a little zippy. So I bought this to keep track of all my other needles, just so I don't have them floating around everywhere. Specifically, I will say, I'm pretty sure that these were marked as for knitting needles, and they were more expensive than if you just get them on their own. So just get them on their own. The same with this. Like, you can buy this as a set for knitting, and it's like twice as expensive as if you go in and you get a tiny little binder and these sheets separately. Just order them separately, and it does it. I was gonna do a cute little labels on them, and then I didn't. And instead, I used painter's tape, and I just have it right here. I'm like, this is a 2, and so like a 2 millimeter, a US 0, and so you'll see I have a shorty in there and a long. I have, the next one is my US 1, which is a 2.25. I think I have 2 shorties in here and a long, because I think this is the one I was using when my socks the needle got confiscated, and so when I bought more, I bought 2 just to be safe. I have a 1.5, which is what I'm using right now for my, which is a 2.5 millimeter. That's what I'm using right now on my socks for my shorts. But I also have a mid and a long in there, so when I get to like the toe and have to go to magic loop. And then I do have just some additional shorties and some other ones, because I don't know why I have a US 3, frankly. And then I have some crochet hooks too. And then this is just, I've got extras here that I can use. This, I love this. It is so handy. It's perfect. So this is like my first organizational thing to share that I love. Would highly, highly recommend. I also went ahead and bought the Knit Pro Denim Special Edition of the mini. I'm irresponsible. Circular interchangeable needles for sleeves and mostly, and for socks. I really like these, but I will be honest, because like these are wood and I'm used to working with metal, so they're a little too grippy for me. And I would love to get a set in metal, but man, they're so expensive. Like these were like 40 quid, 40 pounds. I think in the States it's like 70 bucks though, when I looked at it. And the metal ones are really expensive, so I'm just gonna suck it up and deal with these for a while. But I like them a lot. I would recommend them. I just don't like the grippy wood finish of the needles. I prefer the more slippery metal. Okay, I think I'm only gonna show like 3 more things. There's a couple things I have that I don't really use that much. I bought this like gauge counter, and it's great. I like buying like notions from places, so I got this at a place in Belfast to like support them, a local yarn shop. But I don't really use it very often. I'm more likely to use a ruler. Okay, I have a stitch holder. I use barber cord instead. I have this. I think I needed to like add like $2 to an order to get free shipping, so I added this. But I haven't used it yet, obviously, still in the packaging. I bought this. This is supposed to be like a sock measurer where you're able to be like, okay, it has like your gauging here. It's got your needle sizes. It's a little ruler, and it's also like, here are your sizes and how long you should knit to it. I never use this. Never. I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't understand the point of it. It's not helpful for me. So I wouldn't recommend that. Barber cord, yes. All the stitch markers, of course. I got so many. These are just the light bulb ones, you know, the little light bulbs. But I also really love these teeny tiny little ones. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. This little heart one, okay? I love the little ones. I did buy some cocoa knits that were like jumbos, and I don't like them because I don't knit anything that big, and they kind of get in the way and add more like gaps in between my stitches. I'm sure they're great for like big bulky things if I were to knit that, but I just haven't yet. The quality themselves is nice. I just don't like the size. So barber cord stitches. I buy souvenir ones. You know about that too. Organization thing number 2. I learned about this one from Celine, from Woozy by Celine. I bought one for my mom. I love this. It is a pill case. It has all of my notions in one spot. In fact, it even can fit a pair of crane scissors in it, like, and close properly. So I've got my scissors in here. I've got all of my stitch markers. I've got different needles, you know. They fit in one of the big compartments. I have, these are the cocoa knits ones I was mentioning. They're so big I can wear them like a ring on my finger, which I have been known to do. I have a row counter, which I really love. It's very helpful. And then I have others in here. So like I have just all the other shapes I have. You know, there's some hearts and triangles. There's more of the like detachable plastic ones. I use those a lot. I never use these flower ones. They're cute. But again, I have the same issue with these as I do with the cocoa knits big ones. They just seem to leave a gap, so I'm probably going to pull those out and move them. And I do have some of these like open ones, the little spiral guys. And they're fine. I've used them to like help me catch like a drop stitch and stuff like that. But as a whole, love this. It's so small, it can go everywhere. Like I said, my scissors fit right in it, and it'll close and it'll latch. Highly recommend. This is not a knitting tool, but I love it, and I would go to the ends of the earth for this. It is, you know, like when you have a drawstring, like a hoodie or pants, and how you always pull the drawstring out, or maybe that's just me, but I always end up like losing one end of the drawstring. I hate it. I hate it. Drives me up the wall. This is a re-stringer. So like if I was to do the traveler hoodie, I probably would use this for knitting, but right now I use it on all my pajama pants when I lose the end of the ribbon from the tie. Love this. I did get this at my like local haberdashery when I was there buying some like the tapestry needles and stuff like that, which is why it's in my yarn stuff. Love it. Would go to the, I don't know how it took me 30 years to know that something like this exists. Of course it does. Why have I not had this my whole life? Highly recommend. And then the last thing I have is one of the other things I've been buying when I'm on vacations at places that have it are the Pacific Knits doodle kits for those locations. So I currently have Paris and Ireland. And I bought this little like trading card like piece, like collector binder to put all of them in. So I have them all right here now. Like, look, you can just flip through them and they're all here. They're all kept safe in one spot. And I like it because I like little things like this. Yeah, that's it. That's what I have for you today. Okay, I know I told you that this office was very warm, and in case you didn't truly believe me, the camera just stopped recording because it's getting too hot. So luckily I was done recording. Hopefully it saved that last bit, and this will be the end of the video, and I'll let it cool down, I guess, before I do anything with it. So thank you so much for joining us today. Me. There's one of me. Scylla was here for a little bit, but she left. So thank you for joining me, watching the video today. Sorry for this end being like all shaky. Ooh, really shaky. It's just really kind of tiring to hold your camera like this for a long time. So, yeah, great. Can you hear the guys next door? They're very happy. Thank you so much for joining us. I did it again. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful week. And if you like this, feel free to subscribe and follow below. Next episode will be about my yarn haul and all my plans for that yarn haul. And I will see you all later. Thank you. Bye.